Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Pastor Yemi Omogboyega. Thank you for patronizing our channel. God bless you. I hope you are being blessed. I want to talk on why our younger generations hate family bonding. Why the younger generations hate family bonding. Recently, I did a video talking about family bonding as one of those core values that an average Nigerian, irrespective of their ethnic origins, value a lot. Particularly, let me come to Yoruba land as a case study. I know it happens in the Igbo land, it happens in Hausa land. Particularly, it is a kind of African culture that families bond together. Family bonding, or let me put it this way, people that are born into the same family setting, they are like people in marriage. I think that's the best analogy. We all know that when people are married, are joined together, it is not always easy to divorce them or to tear them apart. Just like the word of God will say, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. That's exactly what family bonding is. Everybody born into a family owes an allegiance to that family to ensure the continuity of the family and to ensure that there is the sharing of love. And in Yoruba culture, that I know very well, family never separates until death separates them. Let me give you an example now. When we say family, we mean family in the largest sense of it. Family in the largest form of it. You have the monogamous family, father, mother, children. And where you have polygamous family, mothers, father, children. Then you have within this family, let's take it now backwards. How well connected we are in Yoruba land or an average African family, larger family. Now you have the parents of this family. Oh dear. Sorry, the children are making noise. I don't know what to do. Just one moment. Yeah, so you talk of the father, mother, and the children. The children are the latest lineage. So the father and the mother, they are the previous generation. Now, the father has his own father and mother, and the father and the mother, they have their own siblings. They have their own siblings. Even some of them, if the parents are still alive, they are part of the family. The parents of the grandmothers, or the grandmothers and the grandfathers, if they are still alive. And these grandparents too have their own fathers and mothers, but it's most likely that when you are getting to great grandfathers and mothers, they may not be that so common, but at least up to the granny level, they are there. And these fathers and mothers, in Africa, you either have a father, mother, brother, sister, period. All this, your uncle, nieces, first cousin. There is nothing cousin in Yoruba home. You are father, brother, and sister, pure. So the family bonding, that is on the father side now, goes as far as even his own siblings and their own children, the next generation. Then the mother too has her own father and mother. And then those fathers and mothers, they have their own siblings. If it's in a polygamous home, they have their own you call them half brothers, half brothers, or whatever. But maybe you call them uncles now. And the thing is that everybody is related, is joined together by the same blood. And that identity is there. Everybody bonds together. And they relate so well together. They do everything in common. For instance, I remembered when my supposed father, before I got back to my biological father proper, when my supposed father died in 1967, my mother could not leave the house, could not leave that family to go out, and do what she liked. Could not, because her husband has died, then relocate. Incidentally, my mother is even the second and latest wife of the deceased. So, she was bound into that family. But by African setting, by Yoruba setting in particular, somebody ought to take care of me. That's where the bonding is. Since that papa has died, somebody like me or my mother should look up to somebody within the family to take me up for the purpose of proper upbringing. Either from my father's side or from my mother's side. That is where the bonding is useful. It could even be from my mother's siblings. It could also be from my father's siblings. It could be from, if it's a polygamous home, it could be anybody within the family, maybe the half brothers of my father, half brothers or half sisters of my father, supposed father then. And then it could also be the same thing, ditto, from my mother's side. Somewhere along this group, somebody has to take responsibility of me, somebody who is willing. And because of love, if you search both sides, there is no way a child will not have somebody who will help to raise him or her up at that age. And I was just 10 years old then. Incidentally, precisely 10 years. Now, so going through those family circle, in my case, for instance, there was nobody who volunteered from my supposed father's side, up to his siblings, up to his half-brothers, up to his or sisters, whatever. Nobody volunteered to take me up. So for my mother now to move me to her side, her own family side, to search for who can help me there, she has to get authorization or permission from my supposed father's eldest sibling, at least, because she could not just, even though he was dead, my supposed father was dead, my mother dared not just take me away and say, you take him, without getting the permission of my father's people. So in this case, I wasn't lucky with my supposed father's side, but I was lucky with my mother's side. Her sibling offered to take me away and train me. Lest I make a mistake, it wasn't completely okay, true that, nobody took me from my father's side. My supposed father's side, there was this distant relative of his that actually took me away for 2.5 months with a promise that he would train me, send me to school, because that was the only thing I loved most, that I didn't want to be disrupted. And he took me away to Imesi Ekiti, where he lived. And 2.5 months thereafter was too long for me, for this man to fulfill his promise. Rather than send me to school, I was taken to the farm, harvesting rice. And I didn't enjoy that. So I quickly opted to return home. And God helped me. With the help of my brother, he took me back home. So that makes it clear. It's not to say that there's nobody, either close or distant, relative of my supposed father, to take me away. It's just that there was no, the person themselves did not identify, the person himself did not identify with my vision, because I didn't want to be a peasant farmer. If I want to practice farming, it will be after I become somebody and I do it for pleasure or for commercial purposes, whichever way. So, now turning to my mother's side, my mother's sibling decided to say, I'll take you. But for my mother to release me to him, she must get the consent of the eldest person in my supposed father's family. Omi ti kún o. So that she did, and I was taken away. So what is important in the eyes of Africa or Yoruba culture is that the children of the deceased, the young ones, somebody has to take responsibility for the caring for that child, for the training of that child. It doesn't matter whether it is from father's side or mother's side. In my own case, my own came from the mother's side, and I'm grateful to God today that no sooner that we got to his place of abode, Idonre, in Ondo State, Ajegunle. The man was a cocoa farmer, contract cocoa farmer. No sooner that we got there than he enrolled me into a school. Very kind of him. He fulfilled his promise, and he bought me books, and he monitored my progress. That was what I wanted. Anybody who did that for me, has already satisfied my yearning. So that is about family bonding. You see, families render help to one another. Then families also cling to one another. You have an issue, you go and discuss with your uncles, with your brothers, with your relatives, with everybody. You have a lot of people to go to. Who will guide you? Who will help you? Even sometimes you need an emergency support. By the time you search from among your larger families or closer families, you get somebody to help you. These are parts and parcel of the family bonding. Then, in periods of sorrow too, not only in periods of sorrow, bereavement or whatever, people rally around you from all sides of the families so that you quickly overcome that problem. How about in period of joy? Everybody comes to rejoice with you. And there is one thing, bonded families, that they do for themselves. They love themselves to the point of death. Like I said, it's like marriage. It's only death that can separate such bonded families. Now, for instance, there is a role that my mother's family, her siblings, played, no matter how little, when my mother died. Maybe just 5 naira contribution in the name of that family, they will do. In those days, they will buy this wrapping cloth for the dead. It depends. There's a way they did it, but these days I think it's money they use. There's something, they will play a role. And there's a role that we too, the children of my mother, have to play to my mother's family, to the siblings. We have to give maybe a goat or something. Maybe they call it Eran Balue, I can't understand. There's to signify the last thing they could do. And at the point of burial, everybody present, available, will be present to give their last respect, to pay the last tribute, which they did in my own mother's case. And it's not limited to her siblings. There is a larger family. Their fathers, half brothers or whatever, if they have, and then their aunties, their cousins, larger family. They, they, stage by stage, they will still gather. They have little roles to play to honor their dead ones. So it is after that my mother herself is weaned from the challenges that family bonding pose to everybody. Now, to our generation now, my mother had 4 children that survived. And out of the 4, we are 2 left today. 2 have gone. But the 2 of them that were gone, their children are bonded to us, the remaining 2. For instance, if there is anything in the family, we will have to carry them along. And at the point of their death, those who have died among my siblings, there are roles that we, their siblings, the 2 of us that are left, there were roles that we played up to the point of their burial. Or we have to stand by the children and play our own roles to the utmost best of our abilities. Even though it is the children that have the responsibility, but we have to rally around. So we still have to keep giving ourselves the honor that we do, that everybody is due. That is the family core. And then so the 2 of them who are dead now, they have no responsibilities for everybody, but their children have. And interestingly, their children have to connect with our own children. Apart from our own minor roles in terms of honoring the dead, their own children and our own children are the celebrants. They have to contribute something. Our own children, all of us, have to contribute something during the funeral as our own token, as their own token, because we are already passing that banner on to them. So by the time we too would have become old and gone, due to everything now passes to the next generation. So the next generation will be taking good care of themselves. And that is what will happen during their own generation too. Till all those who are siblings are dead, there are still responsibilities. They are not heavy, but it's just a symbol of love, a token of love that they will have to contribute to show that there's continuity in family bonding. It's not anything heavy. Not at all. So for instance, not until I'm gone now. For instance, we've done for my mother, we have done for all her siblings. There were 5. All of them have gone. We had the roles that we played during their burial. Not only during their burial, even during their lifetime, because we were visiting them and we bonded together. They were our confidants. They were people we can easily relate with When we are tracing our families, it became easy for us to trace. My mother's siblings, if there's anything, my mother is dead, and then I can go to my mother's sibling and get the information that I need about my family history or about anything for that matter. The female amongst them become my mother until they too are gone. So it is till death do us part. It's only death that is separating families. And even there is a belief in Yoruba land that this family is going to be replicated in heaven. So there is no end to family bonding. It's just that physically we are not giving gifts to one another, or we are not attending one another's occasions. But at least here it ends. Now, there is we are talking one day, myself and my uncle. And then we are just talking about the children generally, the next generation, their attitude towards this family bonding. When we were talking, my uncle was honest. He said, look, one of my children, in fact, who should be the ones championing the thing, being the first boy in the family, that he said, these our families are too large. And so, that it's too troublesome. This one is related to this one is related to that, this one is related, and if anything, this and that. So, no, we don't. I'm not for this. You can see. And if you check some other younger generations too, using myself as an example, I had to properly educate my children that, look, this is how it is done. You don't detach yourself from your larger family. There is a family bonding that you should not dodge away from because you think there is unending responsibility. I tutored them that, look, it is not for anything. Your responsibilities are not much. It is a matter of just honoring the family. Once you put her together, the little you can do not shy away from doing it. Not just at the point of death, but even when you are alive. And then today, to God be the glory, your generation is a bit more exposed than us. You are wiser than us. And then you can have opportunities that you have members of your family, larger families that could benefit from, that you can invite them to. And you can also look at the family and say you want to contribute something to the advancement of your family. Maybe you want to give somebody scholarship from among your family members, larger family members. It's another way of also identifying with the family, bonding with the family. So I trained them that. But to my own surprise, I found that I have to, I've not done anything. Because when I saw their attitudes towards even the immediate families that raised them, I was disappointed. I have to start the reorientation. I never believed that could happen when I'm gone. Talk less of now that I'm still alive. I saw that they did not take that message in. It's just like they allowed me to talk and just talk my own. How many times have I said, have you contacted this child? Have you contacted this one? Have you contacted this one? It became a burden to them, just like my uncle's son was running away from. They are afraid. They think it connotes heavy responsibility. They think it's burdensome. They think that They are being exposed unnecessarily to the larger family. They are afraid of crowd. Whereas, even from the way I raised them, we raised our children to grow up in a community. My mother's children's, my mother's siblings' children lived with us. That was enough to even automatically set that bonding in motion. I thought that by today, because they grew together, they lived together, and many of these, we call the cousins of them now, raised them practically. I was surprised at what I saw. And this thing is like, it's becoming universal. I did a video the other time asking, family bonding is not going into extinction? It got to a point, I was somehow frustrated. I said, well, maybe it is our generation that the whole thing will terminate. Because if my children are not in touch with my siblings' children, then what is next? Everybody is living like the seeds inside the walnut pod that is isolated, partitioned. So, that leads me to, and if you check an average new generation, in fact, this thing started in the 70s. Children that are born from 70s, from 1970 to date, they don't want to have anything to do with the larger family. They see them as irrelevant, they see them as burdensome, they see them. In fact, what we are doing is like we have nothing to do and we just believe. Then it's even so terrible that even the children of today, you know that it has advanced to the point that siblings don't want to relate. Born from the same womb. The moment they get the training and they go, they don't even want to relate with one another. I just begin to wonder. Whereas our parents in those days, yes, we must modify, but not to the extent that which we are going, not to the point that, we will not know ourselves somehow. We are not saying we should all locate in one place. We are not saying, and we are not also saying that people should bring heavy burdens upon one another. Even the burdens we are running away from in the family, we are rendering them outside. So are we not deceiving, or why not do something in the family also? Larger family. No matter what, how little. So I just look at it, I say the world is changing, The world is changing, So I looked at it that, okay, up to my siblings now, father side, mother side, that we know ourselves. If care is not taken, our own children may not relate with one another the way we did. It is our generation that cared about family. The only person left among my father's siblings just passed on to glory a few weeks back. Because of the family bonding that we have, her children called us, informed us, and we are discussing everything about the funeral. It's not as if we are going to be the ones sponsoring the funeral majorly. But because of the family bond, the relevance of the larger family, we were contacted even before she left. Is it that we are giving her, but I mean, she troubled us for anything? No. Her children are able to take good care of her. Anytime we go there, the little we have we give. It's not that gift we are giving, it is the family bonding. Even anytime we go there, she felt happy. That is the joy of family bonding. And now she's gone. But her children and ourselves, the next generation, we are together. And we are relating. Not until we also get old and our own time comes, we will be together like that till our dying days. So, it's something that gives me some sort of displeasure that even from among siblings these days, hardly do they relate with one another. Are we not going to lose something of a great cultural value? Maybe because we are a cultured person, we are people of tradition. But this generation, they don't bother about it at all. What is responsible for that? I would have said it is because we parents failed to link these children together. How about my example? Not only did I say it, I lived it. I brought larger families to live with me so that there will be that family integration. So it is not completely so. These children are just different. They want to live in isolation. They hate the crowd. They hate the interaction. They hate anything, unending chain of family setting. What they are tilting towards now is me, my wife, my children. I wonder if they will even train their own children to relate with one another. So at the next generation, it will be like just when you have your children and your children are out, they don't remember their siblings. That is what I foresee happening in the next 1 or 2 generations after us. It got to a point I told my children, well, this is how it is done. But if you choose otherwise, me, I would have lived and gone. If that is how you want to live, good luck to you. But some of us parents too, we have issues because at their tender ages, we never allow these children to relate. We never allow them to relate. We are secretive. We are kind of introvertible. We don't want, even siblings' children, we don't want your children. Look, as I am here, I relate with my siblings' children. I'll call them, how are you doing? This and that. We play, we talk together. Some of us don't do that. Indeed, what some of us will do is we will blame. Is it too much for my sisters or my brothers' children to even call me? No, it doesn't work out that way. It is you that will start it. It is you that will start it because all these things, it is the elderly ones that will draw the old. Even when some of them are being drawn closer, we parents prevent them. We don't even remind our children, have you said hello to my siblings? Some of them, even. So to the point that people don't, we're just living an isolated life the way we are going. So there are some of us parents who are guilty of that. Because we can't expect the children, if you don't draw them near, they don't know you when they were young, you don't call them, you don't even make contacts with them, and you want them to now be calling you that they don't particularly relate with, or that you particularly do not cherish being related with. Many of us were guilty of that. We don't allow our children to relate with our siblings. Like I said, I'm exonerating those of us who really made efforts to make it happen. And the children, I told you, it's not on our parents alone. It's on we parents alone. It's also on the part of the children. It is one thing to train somebody, it's another thing for that person to take it. That's a different thing. But did we play our role? Especially at infancy. By the time a child is 15 and is not used to you, you can never call the person and he comes easily to you. And then you don't have the moral justification to say that that child does not remember you tomorrow. Thank God, I always say it is not for bread. God is bread and butter. God is blessing everybody. Nobody is looking up to one for another. But to me, I've looked at it from all ramifications. I can see that the way it is a matter of the ones that can relate will relate. The majority that will not want to relate will go their way. If that is how the next generation wants it, good luck to them. Me, I have done my best to integrate. If we say we don't want to integrate, then and our children are taking over from that, good luck. But my admonition is, as many as can relate, please let us continue to relate. There is value in it. There is something good in it. A family is like a forest. No single person makes a forest. A time may come in maybe 2-3 centuries that history will be told. Why do you want to have difficulty having linkage with your lineage? These are some of the benefits of family bonding. You trace your origin, and when anything is happening to you, nobody tells you story. You don't come on like a prodigal son to be tracing your father's house where you otherwise lived. God bless you. I hope all of us will go back to the drawing board and begin to see what to do about family bonding in our families. Have a very wonderful time. This is just what I'm inspired to release now. God bless you. Please share this message, particularly those of you who are family, share it to your children. Take steps to let your children relate with your siblings and as far as they can relate with your larger families. I know some of you are afraid. You say, my children are now this and I don't want anybody to know about their. That is a myopic reasoning. Thank God nobody is killing anybody again, unless you conjecture it in your heart that somebody can negatively affect your own children. The heart is deep, or the mind is deep, but there is no need for all these unnecessary fears. God bless you. Please share. Like this video, and then press the notification button so that you get to know when we upload new videos. Then subscribe to this channel. God bless you. Have a very wonderful day. Bye. your good friend, Pastor Yemi Omogboyega. Too troublesome and is always touching on everywhere. That's how my God has created me. And I will not be comfortable. I will not be at peace unless I deliver the message. I have delivered this message now to you and your family. Go and work on it. I want to be hearing good reports that families are being reunited and family bond continues. Have a very wonderful time. Bye.